Hello, everyone. It is your Sunday night show, Sunday Nights with Ping. How are you all out there? It's good to see everyone. There's a bunch of stories we're going to cover tonight. Lots of updates, lots of Amber Alerts that ended very quickly, which is a good thing. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Hey, Sherry, how are you? And DJ, Kathy Lynch. DJ again, Lindy, Beth B. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. And Diamond Heart. It's very quiet tonight. What is going on? Where did everyone go? Amy 007. Hey, how are you? I don't know where everyone went. Maybe the alert didn't go out tonight. Nancy. Hey, how are you? Hey, Maria. Good to see you all. So there's been some updates in the Australian case of the missing couple, Jesse and Luke. New South Wales police give major update on allegations against Beau Lamar as Bungonia property owner breaks silence. So originally they thought the bodies of these two men were in that white van in Newcastle, and then apparently they weren't. They weren't in there. So they've been searching for them all weekend. No idea where they were. They checked a bunch of different locations, didn't find anything. No one reported anything. And then all of a sudden, police set up a crime scene at a property off Hazelton Road in New South Wales Southern Tablelands, about 185 kilometres southwest of Sydney, not far from Goulburn, on Sunday afternoon, which was yesterday. It says here, Deputy Commissioner Dave Hudson told reporters on Monday morning that Lamar Condon had made partial admissions to a female acquaintance the day after the alleged killings before buying an angle grinder and a padlock. He later bought weights before allegedly returning to the rural property, which has 4 dams, at night. Police wait, they got to write these better. But police also admitted that Lamar Condon may have subsequently returned to the property to move the bodies after the female acquaintance became suspicious. We can confirm that last Monday, a week ago, the 19th of February, gunshots were heard from the Paddington address. Later that evening, we will allege that the accused hired a white Hi-Ace van from Sydney Airport. So they think these bodies are up on this property, remote rural area in New South Wales. You can see the police searching and having a look at different dams and rivers on the property. I hope they find them. I mean, it'd be really good for the family. I mean, murder's never good, but at least they'd be able to get them back. On Tuesday, the 20th of February, we'll allege that partial admissions were made by the accused to an acquaintance of having been involved in the death of 2 individuals. The following day, police launched a major manhunt after bloodied clothing belonging to Mr. Bard and Mr. Davies was found in a skip in Cronulla. He also said, I can indicate that on that same day, the Wednesday, the accused, we believe, attended the Bungonia area with an acquaintance who was not involved in anything. The female acquaintance who was described as a long-term friend of the accused and an innocent agent, is currently assisting police with their inquiries. We believe that acquaintance assisted the accused in purchasing of an angle grinder and a padlock from a local hardware store in that area before driving to the rural property. Police allege the angle grinder was used to sever a padlock on the gate at the property before being replaced with one bought from a hardware store. Police allege that Lamar Condon then disappeared in the Hi-Ace van for half an hour, leaving the acquaintance on her own before picking her up. They also say, I can indicate that at 11 p.m. that evening, weights were purchased from a department store by the accused, and it is believed that he returned to the rural property overnight, and during that evening, having acquired also 2 torches from the acquaintance. Lamar Condon was seen leaving the property at about 4:30 a.m. the following day. He then allegedly traveled to Newcastle, where he asked another acquaintance to use their hose to clean the van. Early on Friday morning, he returned to Sydney, where he later handed himself into Bondi Police Station. So what exactly was his plan? To dump the bodies, travel to another friend's house, clean out the van, and then hand himself into police. What was he going to say? Oh, I don't have any bodies. I don't know what you're talking about. I think the police were already so far ahead of you. I, you can't even begin to understand the thinking of this guy. I mean, they were already having major press conferences about you, and you're like, yeah, let me spend my last night of freedom hiding bodies. I mean, they figured it out anyway. So, Wu says, could she be charged? This, I don't think they're going to charge her. They keep saying the word innocent party, so I think they need her testimony to help with charging him. So they'll use her as an asset and not, she won't be criminally liable. She probably reported to police as well. So it probably stops any criminal charges that can be brought against her. Probably because she reported it. So, hey, Annika, how are you? Marylander says, crazy plan, indeed. Hey, Emily Knob. Yeah, it's good to see everyone. Hope you're having a great Sunday. So, I hope I haven't heard anything whether they've found them or not. Just that they're searching that property at the moment. Hopefully, they're there and they can, bring them home. I think they're fairly confident. Yeah, I don't see anything that says they're actually there. Just that they believe they're there. I'll double check. Hold on. Uh, no, I don't see anything. Just that they're searching for their bodies. Apparently, Jesse, one of the victims, tried to call 000, which is our 911, moments after gunshots were heard at his Paddington home. Just 4 minutes after shots were heard in Paddington last Monday, a 000 call was made from Jesse's phone, but it disconnected. Police investigating the alleged murder of the Sydney couple have revealed. So it says here the 000 call was made from the phone of the dead television presenter Jesse Bard 4 minutes after gunshots were heard in Paddington, but the call dropped out and was never followed up by police. Startling new information about the alleged murders of the former Channel 10 star and his boyfriend was shared with the media on Monday as police revealed the accused killer, Constable Beau Lamar Condon, made partial admissions about the alleged killing to a former cop a day later. That's that friend that was helping at the farm. She must be a former police officer. It says here New South Wales Deputy Commissioner Dave Hudson said a witness nearby Mr. Bard's Brown Street home believes they heard one, possibly several gunshots at 9:15 a.m. last Monday morning. Mr. Hudson said then 4 minutes later a 000 call was made from a mobile phone. And he says, I can indicate on Monday, 4 minutes after the first shots were fired, there was a 000 call made from Jesse's phone. However, it disconnected. He said it was too soon in the investigation to know who made the call and if it was possibly Mr. Bard calling for help in his dying moments. Could be. It says, at this stage, I would not like to speculate. I would rather investigate than speculate. It will form part of the ongoing investigation being conducted by the homicide squad. In more chilling new details, police allege Constable Lamar Condon left Sydney on Wednesday night in a rented Toyota Hiace van, but stopped in Goulburn to purchase an angle grinder, padlock, and weights. Yeah, there you go. There's more cops searching the area. It seems he did not think this through and then just scrambled at the last minute to try cover up his crime. It's a big property. It might take time, especially with the weights, apparently. Jealousy. He was a bit of a stalker, maybe. Had stalking tendencies, maybe. Guys, give me 1 second. One moment. All right, there we go. My cats were being jerks. They were trying to open the blind. Yeah, I think it was the fact that that guy had moved on and he couldn't handle it. And he was just basically infuriated that he wasn't wanted. And I guess, couldn't control his little boy emotions. That's all I think of it. Couldn't control his 5-year-old boy emotions, so decided to murder two people with his police issued gun. What an idiot. I mean, that's very clever. Use your gun, which is tracked, serialized, and put into the friggin' police system. I mean, they're even fired before a cop gets to use the gun. They fire them, and the tracking marks on the bullet and inside the barrel are all lodged into the system. So it doesn't matter what he did with that gun, they would know it was him. Young and smarter, Zelda? I think you're pretty smart now. Forever. He'll have to be in protective custody forever. Hey, Mary L. Good to see you. All right. That's the update for that one. We might get more this afternoon if they find them. There was also an Amber Alert today by a 7-year-old Florida boy. Not by, he didn't send it in, but looking for a 7-year-old Florida boy. And I'm going to show you. Actually, there was two today, and they both were resolved. So that's better than having, something bad happen. And it says Florida Amber Alert issued for young boy last seen in Palm Beach County. And that was a couple of hours ago. And then they said it had been resolved. Let's see, I might be able to play this and show you.
County, where an Amber Alert has now been issued for the 7-year-old boy you see there on the left side of your screen. His name is Christian Simius, and authorities believe he may be in the company of the man you see on the right hand of your screen. That is Gene Simius, 44 years old.
And this child is from Riviera Beach, Florida, according to police. If you have any information on his whereabouts, you were asked to call FDLE, or you can call the Riviera Beach Police Department at 561.
There you go. But it actually resolved, and it says, or it did say, that it had been, where is it? Huh, that's weird. They just put up another article for it. It's been resolved, right? Hold on. Yeah, there's no active Amber Alert. The only active Amber Alert right now is for Elijah. So where is the article for this? Let me find my other article. Christian Simius. Yeah, here, I'll show you. It says, child safe Amber Alert cancelled after possible child abduction in Palm Springs County. And that was the source. It says, Amber Alert issued for 7-year-old boy, missing boy from Riviera Beach in Palm County has been cancelled. But there was no further updates at the time. Just that it's been resolved. Which I guess that's a good thing. They found the little boy. Hopefully he's alive. I'm guessing that's the case, otherwise we would have had a big press conference for it. And then there was another girl. She's in the title. Where is her one? Here. Her name was Madison. And then I was going to do this one too. And then I found out later on that it says Madison has been found and is home safe with her family. This was out of Pittsburgh. And she is 12 years old, and she went missing in the early hours of February 24th. And yeah, that one was rescinded as well. So two Amber Alerts, both with decent endings. Don't have to worry about two little kids. So that's very good news. Hey, Edgent. What's wrong, Sean? Well, you have to blame YouTube for that. Mamma Mia, I don't know if she can hear us. She left a comment on the video, yesterday's video. Hope she can hear us. Mamma Mia, are you out there? Marlene Clausen says, it is cold here in Western PA. Glad she got home. I know, it's good news. Anytime we can get a kid home, that is very good. So there's your Amber Alerts from today, but we don't have to talk about them. Just tell you that they're home, back with their families, or with police. That's a good thing. All right. I have another young woman, though. Hold on. Hey, not that. Wait, don't you hate that? Look, stop doing that. Third arrest made in Melody Hoffman case. Teen charged for aiding murder suspects. Logan Kimpton. There he is in that thing. We're going to watch this. It says, a third man is arrested in connection with the murder of Melody Hoffman. Logan Kimpton, 18, of Lynn County. Hiawatha, is in Lynn County Jail after being charged with assault with injury, willful injury, conspiracy to commit non-forcible felony, and conspiracy to commit forcible felony. It says McKinley, Louisma, and Dakota Van Patten have been charged with first-degree murder for Hoffman's death. A press release from the Marion Police Department says Kimpton was arrested on Thursday for having played a role in the death of 20-year-old Melody Hoffman. The criminal complaint says Kimpton was with the other two suspects at a Walmart buying machetes and gloves, but did not go through with the murder. The complaint says that when he was told, he chickened out with the murder, and he responded with, "Damn right I did." Investigators say Kimpton told 3 other people a few nights before the murder that he and 2 others had planned to kill someone. He didn't tell them who the target was. Hoffman's body was found at Amana Lily Lake in Iowa County Sunday morning. Court documents suggest she died of strangulation, but that she also had multiple stab and slash wounds on her body. Ah, man. Louisma and Van Patten were seen on surveillance video buying the 2 machetes and gloves from Southwest Cedar Rapids Walmart prior to picking up Hoffman. A search warrant was executed at Van Patten's home where Hoffman's glasses were found, along with towing rope believed to have been used to kill her. Court documents say Louisma and Hoffman have been in an intimate relationship at the time, but that Louisma was also in a relationship with another woman. A criminal complaint shows that she told investigators that him and Van Patten put Hoffman in the trunk of a car at Morgan Creek Park in northwest Cedar Rapids Saturday night and then dumped her body at Amana Lily Lake about 16 miles away. What a twisted case. Let's listen to this.
A lot of new details again today about the 2 men accused of kidnapping and killing Hoffman over the weekend, and that third suspect that is now charged in the case. Iowa's News Now anchor Nick Weig spent the day going through everything as it was all being uncovered. He's got the updates to the timeline tonight and what we know about that third man in custody.
This past Sunday, deputies in Iowa County were called to Lily Lake picnic area near the Amanas after a body was discovered. That's where 20-year-old Melody Hoffman was found dead from strangulation. Investigators say there was also evidence she was bound with duct tape and had numerous stab and slash wounds. Police in her hometown of Marion joined the investigation. Officials were able to get tracking information from her phone and smartwatch to determine she was first at Morgan Creek Park. That is where her watch reported her heart rate intensified before her heart either stopped or the watch was deactivated. Later, Melody's watch band and phone case were found in McKinley Louisma's car, along with a towing rope, gloves, and clothing matching what Melody was last seen wearing. Louisma allegedly told a DCI agent that he and Dakota Van Patten tied up Melody with duct tape around her wrists, placed her in the trunk of a car, and drove to several spots, before winding up in Iowa County. Afterwards, both men were seen in surveillance video at a gas station in Cedar Rapids buying cigars. Investigators learned a third man, 18-year-old Logan Kimpton, told others that he, Louisma, and Van Patten planned to kill Melody. Kimpton is now being held without bond on several serious charges, but not for her murder. Because investigators believe Melody was dead before arriving at the pond in Iowa County where she was found, the charges were filed and the case will be tried in Lynn County against all three men. Nick Weig, Iowa's News Now.
Court documents also show Kimpton admits to helping buy the weapons and gloves that investigators say were used in Hoffman's murder. He also admits that he, in the investigators' words, chickened out of the actual murder. No new court date set yet for him. Both Louisma and Van Patten have preliminary hearings scheduled for next Friday.
I mean, what sick individuals to be that young and to commit this type of crime. I mean, what can you say? I don't even know what to say. Here's an article from a couple of days ago. Let me make it bigger. It says, official documents say that McKinley Louisma was in an intimate relationship with Melody Hoffman. The Marion woman's body was found near Amina Lily Lake on Sunday, and Louisma is one of two people charged in her case. Well, now three people. Court documents show Louisma is now charged with first-degree murder. He is also charged with first-degree kidnapping and conspiracy to commit forcible felony. Dakota Van Patten, 18, is charged with first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit forcible felony. TV9 has learned that Louisma's alleged involvement in the Hoffman case is not the first time he's been accused of violence against a woman. Right now, all we know is that Louisma's relationship with Hoffman is that it was intimate in nature and the relationship was still happening at the time of her death. So she put a lot of trust in that person. You know, when you're in a relationship with someone, your barriers come down. And to murder someone in that situation and at this age, I mean, it shows psychopathic tendencies. It just does. To do that to someone and then rope other friends into committing a murder and go buy the weapons at Walmart. I mean, what is going on in the world? And it says here, domestic violence goes by many names. Intimate partner violence is one of them, as is dating violence. And they are saying Louisma had been accused of the R word about 2 months ago. Documents show he met a Manchester woman on Facebook dating back in September. They exchanged numbers and Snapchat accounts. The woman said in December Louisma pinned her to a bed and, sexually assaulted her, covering her mouth so that she could not scream for help. The case closed without prosecution. That woman probably took all her bravery and, you know, every ounce of energy to be able to go to police, and the case was never prosecuted. Now, a few months later, 2 months, just a couple of months, he's involved in a murder of his girlfriend. I mean, people ask about the signs. Was there any signs? Did we know this might happen? Yes, but no one freaking saw it. Like, I mean, that's an escalation, isn't it? He went from sexually assaulting a woman he went on a date with to killing his girlfriend. I mean, maybe the police could have looked into that one a bit more. Maybe it would have saved a woman's life. If he was in jail on the December incident, maybe this never happens. Maybe this young girl actually gets to walk away. You know, maybe she decides, oh man, he got done with that. Wow, maybe I shouldn't be in a relationship with him. And she gets to live and go off and live her life. It's really really horrible. A tiny gun. Okay, Zelda, I'm sure they make one. Machetes and rope. Yeah, it's really brutal. It's really, really brutal. It says here, according to media, more than half the women murdered in the US are killed by someone they know and are in an intimate relationship with. It says Medea and Michelle Ernst, crisis service director at Dubuque Y, said while meeting someone new inherently has risks, those risks are lessened when people know what red flags to look for. Some red flags are someone who is excessively jealous or possessive, someone who does not respect your space or privacy, or someone who humiliates and embarrasses you. They gave more red flags like if you have a gut feeling, anything's wrong, you're feeling isolated, or your freedom is being contained. She added, it's about them gaining power and control. A memorial account has been set up for those who want to donate and help the Hoffman family with funeral expenses. An account has been established at Collins Community Credit Union under Memorial for Melody. Family members are also accepting donations via Venmo. There will be a candlelight vigil for Melody on Thursday, 5 p.m. So that probably already happened because this one is an older article. So they probably had a vigil for her. Let's have a look.
Tonight, we are learning of a second arrest in the murder of this woman, Melody Hoffman. The 20-year-old's body was found strangled, beaten, and stabbed at Lily Lake in Amana on Sunday. Investigators had said a second person helped in the kidnapping and murder.
Tonight, the Lynn County attorney confirms with TV9 the suspect is 18-year-old Dakota Van Patten of Cedar Rapids. Tonight, he's in the Lynn County jail on charges of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy to commit a forcible felony. 23-year-old McKinley Louisma is also charged with kidnapping and conspiracy, but not murder. And Louisma and Van Patten apparently know each other. Both men were out on bond, both accused of beating the same man at an apartment in Cedar Rapids back in January.
Now, this all started when bystanders discovered a woman's body at Lily Lake in Amana Sunday. That body turned out to be 20-year-old Melody Hoffman of Marion. Police say Louisma was in a relationship with her, that he and another person picked her up, put her in the trunk of his car, and took her to different locations, including Morgan Creek Park in Lynn County, beating her, stabbing her, and leaving her body at the lake in Iowa County. KCRG TV9's Molly Swain joins us live in the studio with the role dating and domestic violence may have played in this case. Molly?
These documents say that Louisma and Hoffman were in a, quote, intimate relationship, and that he was still seeing her the night of her kidnapping and murder, even as he was in a relationship with another woman. This is not the first time Louisma has allegedly committed violence against a woman.
Right now, all we know about McKinley Louisma's relationship with Melody Hoffman is that it was intimate in nature, and the relationship was still happening at the time of her death. But according to Ultimedia, with the Domestic Violence Intervention Program, violence can happen in any kind of relationship.
Domestic violence goes by many names. Intimate partner violence is one of them, as is dating violence.
Louisma had been accused of rape about 2 months ago. Documents show he met a Manchester woman on Facebook dating back in September. They exchanged numbers and Snapchat accounts. The woman said in December, Louisma pinned her to a bed and raped her, covering her mouth so she couldn't scream for help. That case closed without prosecution.
Regardless of where you meet an individual or how you might go into a relationship, whether that's through online dating or dating apps or Facebook, social media, or, out and about at a coffee shop, at the grocery store, any type of relationship that you go into has, potential risks.
According to Medea, more than half the women murdered in the U.S. are killed by someone they know and are in an intimate relationship with. Both Medea and Michelle Ernst, Crisis Services Director at the Dubuque Y, said while meeting someone new inherently has risks, those risks are lessened when people know what red flags to look for. Some of them are someone who is excessively jealous or possessive, someone who does not respect your space or privacy, or someone who humiliates and embarrasses you.
If you have a gut feeling anything's wrong, you're feeling isolated, your freedom is being contained, it's them gaining the power and the control.
Memorial account has been set up for those who want to donate and help the Hoffman family with funeral expenses. You can find details on our website. There will also be a candlelight vigil for Melody tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Wanatee Park in Marion. People are invited to come, share memories, or support the family. In the studio, Molly Swain, KCRG TV9 News.
All right.
Northern Iowa visiting Drake Bull.
There we go. I actually found the memorial, that like a vigil they had for her. Yeah, I'll show you.
I spoke to tell me they're still dealing with the shock and devastation caused by the unexpected and tragic loss of life. Many people sharing lighthearted stories of Melody, bringing comfort in a somber atmosphere. You could feel the groundswell of sorrow in Marion tonight, with the crowd taking part in the candle lighting, and a moment to celebrate Melody's life as the sound of Let It Be by the Beatles rang through the crowd. A few people came in for a warm group hug with Melody's mom and dad, assuring them their daughter won't be forgotten. Loved ones say in lieu of flowers, they're asking for donations to help pay for funeral services. We have the information on how you can contribute on the Iowa's News Now website. In studio, Cedric Bolster III.
There you go, a bit of footage from the vigil. I know, 20. That's not what I was thinking about at 20. Yeah, she's not the one from the movies. No. Diamond Heart says he looks just creepy. Yep, a little bit, but even though they're killers, I try not to make fun of their appearance, even though I think the same. But you know, that woman in December is probably beside herself. She probably thinks, oh my God, maybe I was destined to be murdered, you know? She probably wonders, why did I live and this other woman didn't? So she's probably going to have some, psychological issues herself, along with the sexual assault that was, done against her. So I'll keep an eye on that for the Hoffman case. It's horrible. The fact that, and then there was like the one we read at the start, another kid, basically, or 20-year-old, tried to get roped into it too, and he backed out. And they are still charging him. So, yeah, there we go. I do have another update about the Colorado shooting. There's a little more information about Nicholas Jordan, student charged in fatal Colorado shooting, threatened roommates over trash. It says, Nicholas Jordan, the 25-year-old student charged with fatally shooting his roommate and another person in the University of Colorado dorm, told his roommate he would kill him during an argument over taking out the trash. According to the affidavit, Jordan faces 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Samuel Knopp and Jordan's 24-year-old roommate and a registered student at the university, and Celie Rain Montgomery, 26, who was not enrolled. Police arrived at Jordan's dorm at the University of Colorado Springs campus around 6 a.m. on February 16th in response to a call from another roommate who told police he woke up to the sounds of gunshots and the immediate sound of a person moaning. There's his photo from a mugshot. The roommate told the detective he and Knopp repeatedly reported Jordan to the university for smoking marijuana and cigarettes in the dorm and for unsafe living conditions in January. Jordan threatened to kill Knopp and after Knopp placed a bag of trash near Jordan's door and asked him to take it out. Knopp and Montgomery were found inside the dorm room and pronounced dead at the scene. There's a photo of Celie. Surveillance video captured a person in dark clothing running out of the dorm's entrance minutes before officers arrived. The shooting sent the campus into lockdown for hours over fears of an active shooter. Officers have not released information about whether Montgomery knew Knopp or Jordan. Jordan was arrested Monday less than 3 miles from campus. He is booked into the El Paso County Jail on a $5 million bond. A judge increased Jordan's bond by $4 million after prosecutor Robert Willett argued he is a safety risk because he could be attempting to flee the state and had a gun when he was arrested. Jordan appeared Friday morning before a judge in El Paso County Court. A status conference is scheduled for March 15th. The university told police Jordan filed a request to withdraw from all classes and housing at the university less than 24 hours before the shooting, according to the affidavit. So he'd already asked the university to withdraw from housing and studies at the university, and it probably would have been approved within a week, but instead decided to murder his roommate and probably his girlfriend. I mean, we are just seeing bizarre actions to, or, what should be just a normal teenage or young person conflict in housing over trash, right? Because he didn't want to clean up his own mess and he didn't want to stop smoking marijuana in his dorm room. Apparently, he also smoked heavily cigarettes as well. They are real. That is true. I don't get it. I mean, shouldn't you be like partying and having fun with your friends at college when you're like 20? All right. It may not be a long show tonight. We may wrap up in about 20 minutes. If it's going to be a slow night, we may just call it and I'll come back tomorrow. There must be something else on. What is on tonight, guys? What am I missing? What is on in America? Is there a presidential debate or something like that? Is there one of these primary things going on? Let's see. Where's my other story? If I can find my other story. No. All right, here we go. A story from Long Island. Yeah, let me pause this. We'll listen to that in a minute. It says, man arrested for attempted murder of parent in New Hyde Park. His name is Joshua Wilk. It says Nassau County Police say they've arrested a New Hyde Park man on Saturday for attempting to murder his parents. They say 24-year-old Joshua Wilk entered his parents' bedroom and began assaulting his mother, 64, and his father, 60, with a knife in their Cherrywood Drive home on Saturday night. He continued to assault them as they left the house. While outside, he put his arms around one of the victims' necks, and responding officers finally removed him from the victim and arrested him. They say it's surprising, said New Hyde Park resident Karishma Tank. You never really hear about stories like that. It's a quiet neighborhood. People get along with each other. Police added both victims sustained severe lacerations and were taken to the hospital. They were listed in critical but stable condition as of Sunday evening. It says Wilk is charged with attempted murder in the second degree, assault in the first degree, criminal obstruction of breathing, aggravated criminal contempt, criminal possession of a weapon in the fourth degree, and resisting arrest. He is due back in court for an arraignment on February 26. So let's see the video about him.
We begin with new information for you right now, as police say a New Hyde Park man has been arrested for trying to murder his parents last night. This all happened at a home on Cherrywood Drive, where we are told that blood can still be seen on the block where this all unfolded. And just a warning for you, you may find some of the video that we are about to show you disturbing. We're going to turn things over now to News 12's Liz Burke. She is on the street with the very latest. Liz.
Good evening, Tama. One neighbor told me off camera that it looked like a scene out of a horror movie, and the father ran around the neighborhood ringing doorbells, asking for someone to call 911. Here on the street, you can still see a bloody shirt and blood on the ground. According to detectives, a 60-year-old male victim and a 64-year-old female victim were sleeping in their bedroom on Cherrywood Drive in New Hyde Park last night when their son, 24-year-old Joshua Wilk, entered their bedroom and began to assault them with a knife. Police say Wilk continued to assault them as they left the house. While outside, police say Wilk put his arms around one of the victims' necks, and responding officers removed Wilk from the victim and arrested him. He is charged with attempted murder in the second degree, assault in the first degree, criminal obstruction of breathing, aggravated criminal contempt, criminal possession of a weapon in the fourth degree, and resisting arrest. Surprising, you never really hear of stories like that here. It's a
The amount of blood that was there, that's a lot of blood. I mean, what did they say they had? Lacerations to the face and neck. I mean, what is going on? It's not the only one either. I'm going to show you another one in Florida. Yeah. But this one, he actually killed them. It says a couple in their 60s, same age as the one in Long Island. A couple in their 60s were found beaten to death and left what the Escambia County Sheriffs describe as a horrific scene on Thursday afternoon. Their grandson, 24-year-old Jordan King, is charged with their murders. The sheriff's office is working to try and determine what happened at a home on Greenbrier Boulevard. Family members told deputies they hadn't heard from their loved ones in a couple of days and wanted to check on them. Deputies believe the two died from blunt force trauma. Their bodies were found in separate rooms. King had been living with them. He was immediately considered a person of interest. Deputies launched a county-wide search and captured him in the Bellevue community. Someone called and said, "I think I know where this person is. He was on foot when we took him into custody without incident, and we brought him to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office." Deputies canvassed nearby homes, searching for anyone who may have seen or heard anything that could help the investigation. They said, "My neighbor called me and asked if I knew what was going on up the street." This is from a woman named Charlene Daughtry. A neighbor said, "I went and got my daughter, and we went to the end of the street. That's when a deputy walked over and said he couldn't tell us anything, but asked if we knew anything." That's a great way of inquiring. I can't tell you what's going on, but do you know what's going on? That's a very interesting and very cop thing to say. When Daughtry heard the news, she said she was heartbroken. She only knew the couple as the Kings and said they were good people. It's very sad. It's very upsetting to know that happened to two nice people, and I feel very bad about it, she said. And let's have a look here.
A welfare check at a Pensacola home today found a nightmare inside. A couple in their 60s, beaten to death, and left in what the sheriff describes as a horrific scene. The Escambia County Sheriff's Office immediately developed a person of interest in the case. As Brent Carney reports, it's the couple's adult grandson who's now in custody.
The Escambia County Sheriff's Office is working very hard to try and determine what exactly happened at a home here on Greenbrier Boulevard in Escambia County. The sheriff identifying the victims only as a couple in their 60s. Deputies were first called to this home on Greenbrier Boulevard just after noon. Family members told deputies they didn't hear from their family members in a couple of days and wanted to check in on them.
So they made an entry into the house. We just went with them, again, to do this welfare check. And then as you can imagine how terrible it would be knowing that you have a loved one inside the house and then walking into that scene where not one but two of your loved ones were apparently killed.
Deputies believe the two died from blunt force trauma. Their bodies were found in separate rooms. Their grandson, 24-year-old Jordan King, had been living with them. He was immediately considered a person of interest. Deputies launched a countywide search and captured him in Bellevue.
And then they called us and said, "I think I know where this person is." Our deputies were in the area, obviously. We went out there, we found him. Sure enough, that's where he was. He was on foot. We took him into custody without incident and, again, transported to the sheriff's office.
Deputies canvassed nearby homes, searching for anyone who may have seen or heard anything that could be helpful to the investigation.
My neighbor called me and asked me if I knew what was going on up the street, and I walked out and went and got my daughter, and we were at the edge of the road, and one of the detectives came down and said he couldn't tell us anything, but asked if we knew anything.
When Daughtry heard the news, she said she was heartbroken. She only knew the couple as the Kings and said they were good people.
Oh, very sad. Yes, it's upsetting to know that happened to two such nice people, and I feel very bad about it.
Jordan King is now being interviewed by investigators and has not been officially charged. In Escambia County, Brent Carney, WER News.
I'm tempted to watch the shark. What is this? I like sharks. That's a big ass shark. Let's turn the noise off. That's a huge ass shark. I don't know what kind of shark that is. Great white? Tiger shark? No idea. All I know is it'll probably eat you. It'll probably bite you. Let me see. Fort Walden Beach. Ah, thank you. Hey, Nancy. Good to see you. I know, right? It's a massive shark. You still having problems with your neighbor, Zelda? That's very concerning that you haven't got it, like any help from your local PD. It's very scary. I hope that they finally get some sense into them and start helping. All right, let me see. You know, I was checking into if they actually did a follow-up on that missing girl, that Harper Cadman, even though we know she was found. I just did a quick check, and not one news agency did a follow-up. They all did the Amber Alert or the missing article for her, but not one media company did a follow-up saying she had been found. The only person I can see who did one was someone on TikTok. And that's it. I don't know what happened there, but they kept that very quiet at the end. No idea why, but maybe they're looking to press charges. I don't know. All right. Yeah, that was a very sad story. It really was. Let me find. We have a weird story from another county. Hold on. We're very sad to hear of so many parents and caregivers being murdered or having some sort of like family violence committed against them. All right. So this is from the Charlotte Observer, and it says, "Mum of missing Madalena Kojakari refuses to leave Charlotte jail cell, stalls court date." And it says, "The mysterious case of missing 12-year-old Madalena has remained barren of details since she disappeared from her North Carolina home in 2022. After more than a year and a half, the wait wages on. Diana Madalena's mother refused to leave her jail cell Friday morning when she was scheduled to appear across the street at Mecklenburg County Courthouse. A new date will be set to review her charge of failing to report a missing child. If she chooses not to come out, we can't force her to be here, so this is the outcome today." The arraignment was supposed to begin at 9:30 a.m. on Friday, but the judge was still waiting on her at 10 a.m. Kojakari has been in jail since December 2022. As 10 reporters shuffled out of the courtroom, Assistant District Attorney and Homicide Unit Chief Bill Bunting told the Charlotte Observer that what happened is not unheard of. Despite pleas from local police and FBI agents, Kojakari and her husband Christopher have remained tight-lipped on the question looming above the community: what happened to Madalena? So I don't actually remember this one. Does anyone in the chat remember this little girl going missing in 2022? It says here, apparently police arrested Kojakari and Palmita, Madalena's stepfather, after her teacher noticed a long absence following her Cornelius School's 2022 Thanksgiving break. She was last seen November 23rd, 2022, but the couple didn't report her missing until December 15th of that year. It reminds me so much of those two little boys from California. They hadn't been seen in a while and they got reported. Did they end up being reported missing like months later? Very similar. By December 17th, Cornelius police had arrested the couple, charging each with failure to report a missing child. Palmida posted his $25,000 bond, which was originally $200,000, and Kojikari has remained in jail under her $250,000 bond. Both Diana and Palmida have been interviewed by police, but neither have offered any explanation as to why they didn't report the girl missing. Prosecutors have said in previous court hearings, only bits of conflicting information exist in court documents, and they tend to introduce more questions, none of which were answered in court on Friday. According to court documents and police reports, Kojikari claims Madalena disappeared on the night of November 23rd when her parents were fighting. That night, Kojikari asked Palmida if he knew where Madalena was, and then it says, he asked her if she knew where she was. Had he hidden her? He asked her the same questions. Kojikari told a distant relative on December 2nd that she was attempting to smuggle both her daughter and herself away from their home in Cornelius because of her bad relationship with her husband. According to court documents and search warrants, she wanted a divorce. Kojikari told investigators she believed Palmida was putting the family in danger. She also told police she did not report her daughter missing sooner because she feared conflict with him. It's bizarre. Later, in a recorded jail call between Kojikari and her mother, the women discuss a bag with money, withdrawing cash, and a theory that Chris gave the girl away for money. So it almost sounds like they're trying to muddy the waters with varying theories on what happened to the little girl. In another recorded call between Palmida or whatever his name is, his brother and his sister-in-law, he mentioned Kojikari had a lot of cash with her and he did not know where it came from. Kojikari's absence barred the judge, state prosecutors, and her own lawyers from discussing any details in the case. It says search warrants in Mecklenburg County confirm police obtained surveillance footage from a place near Sugar Mountain and believe Madalena was there with a man on December 16th. That's weird. The man WTV and WSOC reported could be one of Kojikari's relatives. Local authorities and the FBI have confirmed the search for Madalena expanded beyond the Charlotte area as tips rolled in for the highly publicized missing child case. Madalena was last seen wearing jeans, pink, purple, and white Adidas shoes, and a white t-shirt and jacket. She is 4 feet, 10 inches tall, has dark brown hair, and weighs about 90 pounds. Police said at the time of her reported disappearance. Officers asked that anyone with information on Madalena's whereabouts to call Cornelius Police Department at 704-892-7773 or the FBI at 1-800-225-5324. Or to remain anonymous, call the local area Crime Stoppers at 704-896-7867. That was a hell of an article. That was a long one. All right, hold on. Madalena. Let me see if I can find anything else that we can watch on her. Ping, did you watch the latest episode on Dateline regarding Angie Dodge's murder and the man Chris Tapp who was No, I didn't. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the latest Dateline yet. I'll have a look. That's very interesting. It was the last interview he would give. It's a very sad case, that one, for everyone involved. Alright, hold on. Let me see if I can find anything about this girl that we can look at. Maybe WSOC TV?
Madalina Kojikari refused to show up in court for her hearing today. Now that means the hearing will have to be postponed. Diana Kojikari has spent the past 14 months behind bars. She is charged with failing to report her daughter missing. Little Madalina was last seen publicly in November of 2022 getting off of her school bus, and she has not been seen since. Channel 9's Hannah Getz was there in the courtroom this morning when Diana's hearing was set to happen, but then was abruptly pushed back. Hannah is joining us now live outside the courthouse. Hannah?
That's right. And as we told you yesterday, there was a chance that Diana Kojikari could have walked out of jail today, but instead she refused to show up to court. I spent this afternoon working to learn why this may have happened.
With no action being taken, nothing will occur in this matter today.
Diana Kojikari was supposed to be pleading guilty or not guilty today on charges of failing to report her daughter, Madalina, missing. But instead, she refused to show up to the hearing at all.
If it's being set on part by the defense and defendant chooses not to come, can't force her to be here. So this is the outcome for today.
We told you yesterday there was a possibility Diana Kojikari could walk out of jail today if she pleaded guilty, cashing in the time she already served in jail. Right after the hearing, I jumped on a video call with longtime defense attorney George Lauren.
I mean, here she's getting out of jail. You got a Monopoly game, get out of free card today. Evidently, it sounds like, right?
So why would she not want to come to court? Why would she not want to take what we thought would be a good chance to get out of jail free?
I wonder, number one, is she afraid of her husband? That's why at least there's in jail, she's protected.
Early on in this investigation, we reported that when detectives asked Diana why she did not report her daughter missing, they say she told them she was worried it might start a conflict between her and her husband, Christopher Palmer.
Do you know where Madalina is?
Palmer got out of jail on bond in August and is living in their Cornelius home. After that same hearing, Madalina's grandmother told us she believed Madalina was trafficked. Lauren says there are two other reasons why he would think Diana didn't show up today.
Does she have a place to go? Is she afraid of the backlash from the public, the media?
Diana Kojikari is from Moldova and she does have family there. If she was placed on any type of probation or court restrictions today, there is a chance that she wouldn't have been able to get on a flight back. And at this time, we're still waiting on that new court hearing. Live in Uptown.
It's weird, right? You know, there's a video here of the little girl, and I seem to remember this video, but I don't remember much more about the case, but I do remember this school bus video. This one. I don't think there's any sound. I think that's her there. And I do remember this video making the rounds at one point. Sort of like that's the last time she was seen by anyone in public. So there's a 12-year-old out there somewhere missing, and her mum is refusing to come out of her jail cell. She could, like that video said, she could go home today. She could be released from jail. I don't know of many people who would be like, yeah, I don't want to be released from jail. I want to stay in jail. Moldova. Moldova is an island, isn't it? Near Spain? Oh, no, it's not an island. It's a country. Where is it? It's next to Romania. It's in between Romania and the Ukraine, and it borders on the Ukraine, Slovakia, or sort of more Romania and the Ukraine, but there's also Bulgaria, Serbia, Hungary, Slovakia, sort of all around it, but its direct neighbors are Romania and the Ukraine. So Moldova, it's a really tiny little country. Really tiny. Maybe I can show you. Yeah. See? Ukraine and Romania and the Black Sea. So that's where it is. That's where it's located. So there's Kiev there, the capital of the Ukraine, and yeah, it's smack bang in between them. Smack bang. All right. Where are we? There you go. Part of the former, what would be part of the former USSR. The Baltic, yeah. Well, it does border on that the Black Sea. So, all right. All right. I hope your council or someone can help you with that. Isn't that what they're supposed to do, your local government? They're supposed to help with things like that, hoarders and stuff like that. I'll read your comments. Hold on. Where is the one about your story? No. Where's the one you were saying about? Arson, 3 attempted murders. Arson. Let's have a look. I can only see one from Salem County. That was like a week ago in Winston-Salem County. It says a woman is being charged with several counts of attempted murder and arson as the result of a house fire. They're saying that the fire was intentionally set from the outside of the house. 5 people and a dog were inside when the fire was set. All 5 people were able to escape. However, the dog died as a result of the fire. Investigators identified 57-year-old Michelle Lorraine Smith as the suspect. She's been charged with 5 counts of attempted murder, first-degree arson, felony cruelty to animals, and no bond allowed. The investigation is active and ongoing. There is no further information available at this time. Yeah, I can't say I know this one, but we'll have a look.
On fire that resulted in 5 people being left without a home and the death of a dog. According to investigators, 57-year-old Michelle Smith set the outside of a home on fire around 6:15 this morning. The home is located off 3rd Street. Smith has been charged with 5 counts of attempted murder, first-degree arson, and felony cruelty to animals, and was given no bond. Officials say this investigation is ongoing. A woman has been arrested for setting.
There you go. It's always the animals that suffer. The only one who died in that thing was the dog. I mean, so she should get the animal cruelty charge out of that. I mean, the poor dog lost its life, but everyone else escaped. So, hey, Red Like Wine. Good to see you. The 2 neighbors across from each other turned against, now fighting over the dog getting his chickens. Yeah, sounds like you have a lot of neighbor problems. A lot of bad neighbor problems. All right. Let's see if I can find our other story. Hold on. You know, we actually had a guy that was shot and died at a hospital in, I think it was Sydney. He just turned up at a hospital and had gunshot wounds, and they're still not sure where he was shot or by who. They're not even, yeah, the investigation is still ongoing. Let's have a look at this one. I actually don't. Hold on. Stop playing automatically. There we go. I don't know. Does anyone know this particular case? It says one night in 1994, 11-year-old Misty May Micheletti went to bed in her Vancouver, Washington home but was not seen alive again. Her body was found days later in the Columbia River. On January 15th, Micheletti and her two stepbrothers were home alone with their mother. Was home alone while their mother was working a night shift at a care facility. The boys told authorities they saw an adult man in Misty's room and thought he was a burglar. The sight of him scared them, and they snuck back into their beds. When they awoke the next morning, she was gone. Micheletti's aunt, Kelly Carlson, said one of the boys called her and told her Misty was missing. She says, "We just started going door to door checking the apartment complex. Within an hour of not being able to find her, we called the police. Officers were originally convinced Micheletti was a runaway. They were telling us things like, well, she'll probably turn up. She probably just ran away." Carlson said Misty wasn't the kind of child that could have just taken off and ran away anyway. She was a very innocent child. There's a photo of her there. Her family and community members put up hundreds of flyers and conducted their own searches. There was never an answer, said her cousin, Nicole Peterson. It was kind of like the boogeyman, just coming in the middle of the night and taking your child and having something like this happen. 2 days after they went missing, they turned on the news and saw officials pulling a body out of the Columbia River. I remember we were all watching that, and the officers were wearing these reflective jackets and pulling the body, and they weren't saying who it was. And just as this was occurring, we turned and pulled the police into the driveway. Okay. On Sunday, January 17th, Misty's body was found by two fishermen in the Columbia River off Interstate 205 bridge on the Oregon side, just 5 miles from the home. Carlson went to help identify the body. To this day, I can still remember it like it was yesterday, seeing her tiny little body there. When Micheletti's body was found, she was only wearing jeans, which were unzipped, and a Chicago Bulls t-shirt. An initial autopsy report said she drowned, and there was no damage to her feet. Police searched the shoreline and bridge for shoes and a jacket, but none were found. All her clothes and DNA evidence were sent to the Vancouver Police Department for testing. They ruled the cause of death as asphyxia by drowning. It wasn't until 1 month after she disappeared that her death was ruled a homicide. Lab reports came back and revealed that she was in fact sexually assaulted. That was absolutely devastating to the family. They always felt that if they were wealthy or had more rapport in the community, maybe they would have been taken more seriously. They ran the DNA through CODIS, but there has never been a match. They're saying maybe genetic genealogy might be able to help this case. Maybe the DNA technology has advanced very much in the last 5 years alone. Apparently, they're saying, what is the status of the case? It says, the police department said they received a lead late last year as of December 2022. So leads are still coming in, and those are still always followed up on. CAP said the department will utilize technology developments they have access to. With regards to unsolved cases, the detectives become very close to them. They become very tied in with the family, and really the empathy of wanting to solve the case, really get that resolution for the family is paramount. And it says Misty May Micheletti deserves justice. The most important thing is that the case is not forgotten, and that's why I've taken this mantle in supporting our family to help make sure that never happens. There's a photo of her, Misty. I don't know I've ever heard of this one myself. Hey, Joan. Thank you. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Hope you're enjoying your night off. She doesn't do a show on a Sunday night. There's no show. She never does a show on Sunday. It's her night off. She gets one night off to go be a princess. No, I said before I didn't watch it. I haven't seen it yet. I will when I get a chance. But I haven't seen it. What was it about? Hold on, let me see. Chris Tapp. Dateline uncovers his wrongful conviction. Is this the episode? An exonerated Idaho man finally had his freedom. What came next was incomprehensible. Chris Tapp was working to make a difference for others wrongfully convicted when tragedy struck. So it's like a replay of like his story. That'll be interesting. I'll have to give it a watch. 6 weeks after the interview that he gave, Tapp 47 died after he was rushed to hospital. His death was initially described as an accident. Authorities have released few details on the incident. No suspects have been publicly identified, and the department has not discussed a possible motive. Wow. I know that his case was, very sad, considering he just got out, just got his payment or whatever, and then he passed away. Hey, Tharvi, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, but people can't just move, though. They might have, like, financial ties, that type of thing. There's a YouTube short of him discussing it with Nate Eaton. Okay. That's alright. Alright, guys, give me 1 second. I have to fix something. Hold on. Alright, we're back. 66. It's pretty quiet for a Sunday. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday, though. Yeah, I can't say I've ever heard of that Misty case, ever. It's a really sad one, though. But maybe they're right. Maybe genetic genealogy will be able to help. I'm hoping that'll be the case. I mean, look how many cold cases it has solved in just the last 2 years. It's got to be over 100. Got to be. All right. Let me see. Actually, we've got something here, a little, I don't know if we can play it though. I'll put the link in the chat. If you want to know more about Misty and her cold case, I'm going to put a link in the chat that has a documentary in it from King 5 in Seattle. I want to say Seattle, but I don't think that's right. Hold on. King 5 Vancouver? Might be Vancouver, Washington. Washington, there we go. Sort of close, but not really. It's Washington, not Seattle. They're in the same country. You have to give me a break. All right, hold on, people. Let's see what else we've got tonight. Actually, I think someone sent me one they wanted me to look at. Let's see what I've got. No. Actually, I'll do this one. This one came from DJ. I'll show you this one. It says, a tip led to charges against 3 men in the 1989 killing of a Missouri woman, authorities say. Kelly Ann Workman was reported missing in Missouri in 1989. 3 men were arrested in the 1989 killing of a woman in Missouri after someone came forward with a tip over 3 decades after her death. Kelly Ann Workman was reported missing on June 30th, 1989 in Douglas County, and her body was found 8 days later in a national forest in neighboring Christian County. Officials from the Douglas County said in a news conference on Wednesday, Bobby Banks, Leonard Banks, and Wiley Belt have now been all arrested and charged with murder, kidnapping, and that R word we can't say anymore, all in the first degree in connection with the case, according to authorities. The arrest came after a person in the last couple of months gave law enforcement information tying the suspects to Workman's killing. Douglas County prosecuting attorney Matt Weatherman said the tipster was not a person of interest in the case. There was a person that came forward after almost 30 years of holding this inside, finally told us the last piece we needed to slide it all together. The 3 men had been on authorities' radar in relation to the cold case for some time. The suspects were arraigned and are being held on a cash bond of $250,000 each, according to Weatherman. All 3 have a court hearing scheduled for March 5th. CNN has sought comment from Belt and Leonard Banks' legal representation. It's unclear whether Bobby Banks has legal representation. Authorities did not provide information on the tipster who came forward or the information that was shared. Weatherman said, "We're going to have a live witness. They're going to testify to what they know, what they saw, and what they think, and we're going to let the jury sort it out." Officials said that Workman's family is relieved and told law enforcement they never thought this day would come. "I think we're able to give Kelly some justice and hopefully give the family some closure." Wow. That's a long time to wait for a break in a case. Kelly Ann Workman. Let's see. Is there a little thing with a photo of them? Yes, from CNN. If it'll play.
It would have been nice to have gotten this for the family years ago.
Kellyanne Workman was last seen June 30th, 1989. She was mowing grass at this cemetery in Douglas County. Roldan Turner was the sheriff back then and recalls the night Kellyanne was reported missing.
We got up here, lawnmower was still in the cemetery, and there was no doubt in my mind at that time, 10 minutes after we got here, that it wasn't good, that something bad had happened to Kelly.
Turner says he wasted no time looking for the young woman.
We had already started our investigation, and both of the banks, we talked to them a lot and pushed them as hard as we could push them.
And Leonard Dwight Banks was no stranger to the community. Back in 1999, KY3 reported an update on the case of Kellyanne Workman 10 years after her death. We interviewed one-on-one with the prime suspect at the time, Banks.
What do you want to come out of this? For me to be cleared and for Kellyanne's murderers to be tested and convicted of this. That's what I want.
And then what do you think? Where do you go from there if that happens?
I'll move away. I've been here the last 10 years, stay here the last 10 years to make sure that it's not laid on me as a patsy again.
Now, Bobby Lee Banks, Leonard Dwight Banks, and Wiley Belt all face charges of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and forcible rape. The case cracked wide open, not by forensic evidence, but by someone in the community.
There was a person that came forward after almost 30 years of holding this inside.
It would have been nice to.
All those guys in the mugshots, they all look like, I thought we got away with this. That's the look they gave. They look like they
New
were
developments in an alleged crime that has shocked the country. Police this morning providing a critical update on the search for murdered couple Jesse Baird and Luke Davies. New details in the investigation have been revealed.
Nah, we've already read that. Let's see if they got a photo of the dam though. There you go. There's a bit of a photo of the area where the police divers are looking for their bodies. This is the couple that were murdered last week in Sydney. That's very interesting. Apparently there's 4 dams about this size on the property, and that's what they're looking at. So that was the story we read earlier. Yeah, old men now, but they had that look like, if it wasn't for those meddling kids, we would have got away with it. That's exactly what the look they had. They looked shocked that they had been finally caught after 30 years of freedom after a horrific crime. That's really what it looked like. Yeah, I hope we're going to get an update actually in the next couple of hours on this one about this dam. You can see these police divers working at this property. You can see that water, it's very murky. It's like almost brown and just, it's not clear at all. It's very, you can see each time the diver steps or moves, they get this like silt that gets kicked up everywhere. So trying to find a body or 2 bodies is not easy work. Look at it. You can see just from them going into the water, over here is clear, and all this silt that they kicked up. So it takes their visibility down to almost nothing. That's why they have a guide rope here, because of bad visibility. This is probably so they don't get like either lost, or so if they do find something, they can tie it to this rope, but also probably just to follow him around wherever he's going, or her. Hold on. Who's messaging me? Is that you? Is that you, Mr. Gambler? It is Mr. Gambler. Hold on, buddy. I can do this, but we can't do it on CBS. If you send me links, you can't send me CBS because their background is like bright white and there's no color anywhere, and it fries people's eyes at 11 o'clock at night. Hold on, let me have a look. All right. So it says a side-by-side, well, we'll read this bit first. Decades-old missing person case solved after relative uploads DNA to a genealogy site. There was another one I read last week where it was solved because a relative put it on. It says a side-by-side comparison between Sandra Young and an image rendered in 2021 using DNA technology. Yeah, they're pretty close, but I don't want to be accused of like, someone saying, Ping, you just think all African American people look alike. So I don't know. It looks pretty good though. About 54 years ago, a Boy Scout troop leader in Sauvie Island, Oregon, stumbled upon a shallow grave. In the buried dirt seemed to be some forgotten clothing. In reality, it was the remains of a teenage girl. Her entire body in skeletal form was discovered underneath the grave, as well as pieces from a black curly wig, according to the Oregon State Police. At the time, investigators said the body showed clear signs of foul play. For decades, the identity of the young woman remained a mystery until Thursday. State authorities identified the woman as Sandra Young, a teenager from Portland who went missing between 1968 and 1969. Her identity was discovered through advanced DNA technology, which has helped solve stubborn old cold cases in recent years. The case's breakthrough came in January when a person uploaded their DNA to a genealogy database, GED match, and the tool immediately determined that the DNA donor was a distant family member of Young. What's the chances of that? You're just sitting somewhere in your house in America and you're like, yeah, let's do a DNA kit. And somehow you get matched to a cold case from 50 years ago. I mean, that must be a crazy feeling when you get that phone call. And it says there, From there, a genetic genealogist working with the local law enforcement helped track down other possible relatives and encouraged them to provide their DNA. That work eventually led to Young's sister and other family members who confirmed that Young went missing around the time the body was discovered in the far north end of the island. Young went to Grant High School in Portland, which is less than an hour's drive south of the island. She was between 16 and 18 when she was last seen in the city. Over the years, the state medical examiner's office used a variety of DNA techniques to try to identify Young. Those tools predicted that Young had brown skin, brown eyes, and black hair. It also determined that Young was likely of West African, South African, and Northern European descent. The Portland Police Bureau has been notified about the breakthrough in the case and encouraged to conduct further investigation to determine, if possible, the circumstances of Sandy Young's death. The Portland Police Bureau and Young's family did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but in an interview with Portland TV station KOIN6, Young's nephew, Lorico Burkett Gibbs, said there's still a lot of unanswered questions. They said, I know it's still being investigated, but I think there needs to be more investigation about this. The person who did this needs to pay for what they've done. Over the years, missing person cases have disproportionately affected communities of color. In 2022, about 500,000 people were reported missing in the US, with more than a third identified as Black, youth, and women. Even though Black people make up just 13% of the US population, they represent close to 40% of all missing person cases, according to the Black and Missing Foundation. That's a startling statistic, isn't it? Black people make up just 13% of the US population, but represent almost half of all missing person cases across the United States. That is why we need to do more about talking about people of color's missing people cases. It's really important. And the more that true crime creators do it, the more we normalize it as just something we do, the better the results will be. And the less pretty white girl syndrome there will be. You know, we won't get accused of that anymore. It'll just be like, oh, it's a missing persons case. Let's talk about it. But you know, it starts with the creators, it starts with the news agencies. Just got to do it. Oh, for Pumpkin Patch. Yeah, isn't that where the Kyron Hoffman is, that case? That island has a bit of a history, right? Jones says, exactly, those three old men probably figured they were never going to get caught. Too bad it took 30 years. For just what a shame the family waited so long. I think it's very difficult when the family either they die or, you know, just don't get to see justice for their family member. Hey, Lula. Hey, how are you? I'm not sure. Maybe it's people of that background maybe have more risks in their life than some other people, and maybe those risks are represented in that statistic of 40%. I'm not sure, but that's what I could think of. What does race have to do with it? Because there's a well-known trope in true crime that if you have a case of a pretty white girl, everyone's going to cover it like it's the latest, you know, craze of Pokemon, and that if it's a African American person or an Asian person or something else, another person of color, it doesn't get the same attention, even though they might be the same age, you know, go to high school or something, but their cases don't get the same type of attention. It's a bit of a thing. Zelda says, I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel of the island when we go camping. Oh, cool. There was a documentary last year on the subject. What was it called? Is it called Lost Black Girls or Forgotten Black Girls or something? It's called Black Girl Missing. It's really well done, and it demonstrates some of the issues that people of color have with getting police to work on their cases and things like that. Actually, I don't think that's the right one. The one I watched was not it's not that one, I don't think. Unless there's two versions of it, but the one I watched was a documentary, not a drama. I'm just having a look here. I think it's called something like that, though. It was really well done, and it really opened my eyes to, it was interesting. One of the people, right? I'll give you an example. One of the cases in that documentary was a girl who had been groomed online by someone outside of the family. They don't know who it is. They convinced the little girl to leave the house and pack all her belongings and leave a goodbye note. She's never been seen since, and the police won't even really. They looked into it for like a couple of days, and they were just like, it's too hard. And even the local TV station didn't want to air anything about it. They basically got the cold shoulder from, all the local media and stuff like that. And the creepy thing about it was the young girl packed all her belongings into like a camping satchel that she didn't own. Someone from outside the property ordered the bag via Amazon or some service and sent it to the property and bought it for the young girl. And she packed all her belongings in it and left, and she has never been seen since. Carly Russell, yeah, that was an interesting one. Oh, why do black people represent 40%? I'm not sure. I don't know. Like I said, is it about that they have risks that other demographics don't in their life that are because of things that happen to them? I don't know what it would be. I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't say. Yeah, I think it is Black Girl Missing, but not the Lifetime one. There's an actual documentary, not the Lifetime drama one. Carly Russell, that was a rare one that actually took the internet by storm, but I think that one was because of the quirky circumstances, because of all the weird details in it, like seeing a baby in a diaper on a highway or something. Like that case from the start was just a bit non-kosher. It was not kosher. There was something weird from the moment that one got reported. Hold on. What ended up happening to her? I know she got charged. I haven't looked her up in a while. Let me see. What happened? Let's see. She was convicted of false reporting to law enforcement authorities, falsely reporting an incident, but was found guilty by Municipal Judge Brad Bishop on October 11, 2023, based on the recommendation of state prosecutors. In municipal court, there is no jury trial. However, the Constitution allows anyone facing jail time to have their case heard by a jury, which Russell's defense attorneys indicated she would be appealing to do. Bishop recommended 1 year in jail and $17,874 in restitution for Russell. He also recommended 2 fines of $831 each. Russell's attorney argued against jail time, stating it would be unusual for a first-time Class A misdemeanor. So did they end up appealing that? Okay, they've set a date. When are we going to hear that? Let's see. Okay. March 18th at 9 a.m. So a little over 3 weeks away. She'll be back in court and she's going to do her appeal. So there we go. You will hear from Carly Russell again in a couple of weeks. Possibly, Maria. Maria says maybe if go missing, less chance of it being investigated / public attention may contribute to the 40%. Maybe. As where maybe people of other, ethnicity tend to get solved or investigated so they are not outstanding. Yeah, that's possibly it. It could be it. It could be why. I mean, it plays into the same thing I spoke about earlier, doesn't it? That they just don't get the attention that other people do. Maybe she was brought there like from someone else. Zelda says there's very few people who are black that live around the island, so it's odd that the poor girl was buried there. Maybe someone brought her there. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out. That'd be really good. All right. It's 2:30, so we've been on for almost an hour and 40 minutes. Almost. It's been a long Sunday show already. I think we're going to wrap up. I don't have anything else, or nothing that's interesting anyway. And I don't see a press conference for the young couple. I don't see anything on my. I don't see an update for the bodies of the two men. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do an update today. I'm just having a quick look. Actually, this is interesting. 4 women allegedly sexually assaulted by bike rider in Victoria. Police are searching for a male after 4 separate women were sexually assaulted on Victoria's Mornington Peninsula. Detectives believe an unknown male was riding his bike when he approached the women at separate locations and struck them on the backside. In January and February this year, the offender fled the scene on his bike following each incident. There's the different locations. Here, 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 and here. So fairly close together. Police said the first incident occurred on the boulevard in Somers on January 22nd at 10:30 a.m. The second incident occurred at Tasman Road in the same suburb on January 31st. And the third one happened on Peterson Street in Crib Point. And the final one occurred on Sandy Point Road. Jeez. So there's the images of the bike and the backpack. My neck's a bit crazy. He is perceived to be Caucasian in appearance, 14 to 19 years old, with blue eyes or blonde or brown hair. The male was last seen wearing a light-colored t-shirt, black pants, navy blue Nike backpack with a vertical white stripe on it, and riding a white and blue bicycle. Anyone who recognizes the male, has dashcam or any information is urged to call Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333-000. And there's the things they're looking for. Hostages, I don't know what that last word is, but there was a siege in Parramatta. I'm not surprised. Hey, Anna. Hey, how are you? Hey, Brenda Cress. How are you? Yeah, so if it's that kind of distance, maybe maybe someone brought her there. Bashed. It's not, I wouldn't say a siege is uncommon in Parramatta. It probably happens quite a lot, unfortunately. It's a bit of a rough area. It always has been. It's always been a bit of a sort of like 50-50 area. Sort of like some places are good and some places are bad. Good things happen and bad things happen. If you remember what Pitt Street Mall used to look like back in the day, you know, where the church is and the Hungry Jacks? The thing used to be a freaking hole. It was like the scariest place in Parramatta, even though as a teenager I used to walk through there all the time and I was fine, but it just attracted so many a lot of people down on their luck used to hang around that big church and the garden and the lawn out there. Yeah, they're getting good with this DNA, aren't they? In Edmonton, Canada, they ID'd 2 women from DNA in 1975. Let's see. Oh, they were Indigenous women. That's pretty cool. That's nice to see. It says 2 Indigenous women buried in 1970s identified through DNA analysis, Edmonton police say. Louise Lederroot, 24, died in 1975. Irene Jackniff, 30, died in 1976. Here's a photo of them. Irene is on the left and Louise is on the right. Both died in the mid-1970s. Louise is part of the Papa Chase First Nation, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, was reported missing from Edmonton before she died in 1975. Jackniff was reported missing from Drayton Valley, died a year later. At least they've been identified now. The 2 women are the first to be identified through Project Match, a joint effort launched last year between the Edmonton Police Service, RCMP, and the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner to review historical unidentified human remains investigations. The EPS Missing Persons Unit currently has 14 unsolved unidentified human remains files dating back to 1979. Unsolved cases leave families grieving and traumatized for years. Through Project Match, the organizers are revisiting these files and applying today's technology and investigative lens to try and resolve them. It's not closure, said Treaty 8 First Nations Grand Chief Arthur Noski. A lot of the time when our loved ones are deceased, we question why and who. We cannot protect the past, but we can protect the future. That's true. On July 30th, 1975, the body of an unidentified woman was found in North Saskatchewan River. An autopsy revealed she drowned several days earlier. The death was not deemed suspicious. On June 11, 1976, an unidentified woman died outside an Edmonton address. An autopsy determined death was due to medical causes. It was not deemed suspicious. DNA analysis was not available in the 1970s, and DNA samples were not collected from the woman's bodies at the time. From our review of these investigations, there is no evidence to suggest that either woman's death was criminal in nature, just unsolved. Apparently, on September 27th and October 4th of last year, the bodies were exhumed from their graves in Edmonton and Mount Pleasant cemeteries. 2 elders were present to perform sacred ceremonies. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner and external forensic anthropologist then reviewed the initial autopsy reports, re-examined the remains, and collected samples containing DNA. The samples were sent for forensic testing, DNA extraction, and comparison analysis. Both women were identified through DNA matches with samples from family members submitted to the RCMP National DNA Data Bank. Wow, that's really cool. Edmonton police said they were supported in their efforts to examine the 2 cases with support from the Institute of Advancement of Aboriginal Women and the City of Edmonton's Indigenous Relations Office. In my heartfelt hope that the thorough review of these 2 cases provides some answers to the families. Yeah. It's really cool to see that not be a criminal case for either woman, but be that they were just long-term unidentified and that they're still important, even though there's no big mystery or, scandal or something sinister. They still mattered, and they were the first ones they did with Project Match. So that's really cool. Hopefully, we hear some more stories from Project Match in the future. That would be really cool. Hey, Shad, how are you? Yeah, Nike, just do it. All right, I think we're going to wrap up. It's been a very quiet Sunday, but Sundays are always a bit funny. So I will definitely be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern for our first episode of the week, Monday night or Tuesday if you're in Australia. And I want to thank Sean. Sean, thank you for your donation tonight. I appreciate it. Helps the channel. And we'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. for more. I bet you tomorrow there'll be a million updates. There just will be. Thanks, Joan. Good to have you here. And that's it. That's it. We're out. Thank you, Moonlight View, for your help. I appreciate it. And to all the people who support the channel, thank you. And to the new subscribers, good to see you all. All right. That's it. Good night. See you later.